All right, I wanted to explain the tax brackets, federal tax brackets for 2022. So I'm going to use a software to show you the behavior. But the first thing you need to know is that the income tax bracket is progressive. So you can never say, I don't want to make more money because I'll fall in a higher tax bracket and I'll pay more taxes. That's not true. For example, if we look at the first tax bracket, which is 15% on 50,000. So the first 50,197 is taxed at 15%. So let's say that is your salary, but you have an opportunity to make an extra 5,000. Someone can give you a raise and you can make 55,000, but then you decide to refuse it because if you make 55,000, you're going to fall in the second tax bracket, which is 20%, and you don't want to pay more taxes, so you refuse it. I hear a lot of cases like this. That's absolutely incorrect because it's not the full 50,000 that's going to get taxed at the 20%. It's only the extra 5,000 that's going to get taxed at 20%. As you can see here, the first 50,000 is 15%. Anything above that, so anything between 50,000 and then 100,000 is going to be taxed at 20%, not the initial 50%. So you refusing the extra 5,000, even if it's taxed a little bit higher, is basically you refusing 80% of 5,000. So it's like refusing an extra $4,000 just because you think the initial 50,000 is getting taxed at 15, which is not the case. So as you can see, it is progressive. So never refuse extra income. The only time maybe it's best to refuse extra income is if you could miss out on government benefits because your net income is higher. That's the only scenario I could see. So I'm going to give this person an income of, let's say, 35,000. So you can see that the taxable income becomes 35,000, and then the taxable income is what gets taxed in this tax bracket. So you can see 35,000 times 15% gives you the 5,250. So that person's federal tax is $5,250. Now, if we give this person 55,000 of income, you can see that there's a subtraction here. 55,000 minus the first bracket of 50,197. You've got 4,800 left over, and then it's only the extra 4,800 that is taxed at 20%. So there's an extra 984 plus the 7,529, which comes from the full 15% times 50,197 from the first bracket. So that's how this works. So we can test it out. 50,197 times 0.15 is 7,529.55. Now, an interesting point about RSPs is that it is part of the calculation of net income. So if we go a little bit higher on the tax return, you can see RSP is over here, RSP deduction, line 2800. So the reason why RSP makes a big difference on your income tax owing is because it comes in before taxable income. So if you can reduce your taxable income, then you're basically saving the highest tax bracket that you're in. So you see, let's say we give this person an RSP deduction of 4,803, then I'm basically removing any amount this person has in this tax bracket, and he'll only have taxes in the first tax bracket. So if we're gonna give him, let's say, an RSP of 4,800, or let's put the exact amount, 4,803. As you can see, net income is lower, so and then taxable income is lower. He falls only in the first tax bracket, and therefore he only pays 50% taxes. Now imagine if you've got income of, I don't know, 300,000. Now this is just the federal tax bracket. You still have the provincial tax bracket, which is different for every province. So federally, this person who has a $300,000 income. Actually, let's move the RSP amount for now. So 300,000 taxable income. This person's federal tax is 77,180. Now, it's not going to be the final amount that they owe. It'll depend on other credits, and you've got the non-refundable tax credits. You've got the personal exemptions. But that's the first line of taxes that they owe, and it's based on their taxable income. So now, if this person has an RSP amount, it'll reduce the taxable income, and the first bracket affected will be the highest bracket, of course. And you can see the highest bracket in this case is 33%. So if you make an RSP deduction, you're getting a 33% savings on your taxes with that RSP deduction. So if you make a 10,000 RSP deduction, you're going to save $3,300 because you're reducing the amount in this bracket that's getting taxed. So if I put 10,000 RSP, I will have reduced this amount by $3,333 because I've reduced 10,000 of taxable income times 33%. And that's why it's always best, or it's preferred, to contribute to your RSP or to use the RSP deduction when you're in a higher tax bracket because the savings will be greater. The tax savings will be greater. So you can see the tax brackets for 2022, they go up every year based on indexation. So the first bracket is 50,197. So everyone gets taxed, but the first 50,000 is taxed at 15%. And then between 50,000 and 100,000, it's about 20.5%. And then between 100,000 and 155,000, it's an extra 26%. And then between 155 and 221,000, it's 29%. And then anything above 221,000 gets taxed at 33%. And once again, this is just federally. You still have to add the provincial tax brackets. The tax brackets for the province of Quebec, for example, is probably one of the highest in Canada. The first 46,000 is taxed at 15%. Anything over 46 but below 92,000 is taxed at 20%. Anything over 92 but below 112, so I don't know what the point of this bracket is. It's pretty tight. Is taxed at 24, and then anything over 112 is taxed at 25.75%. Ontario's pretty high as well. Anything below 46,000 is taxed at 5%, but obviously better than Quebec, but still pretty high. You see, the Quebec rates were almost as much as the federal rate, but the Ontario is much lower than the federal rate. The first 46,000 is 5% instead of 15%. Then between 46 and 92, you've got 9%. Then between 92 and 150, you've got 11%. Then between 150 and 220, you've got 12%. And then between anything over 220 is 13%. So even the highest tax bracket provincially is less than the first tax bracket federally. But in the case of Quebec, you had like the almost exact same tax brackets or tax rates as federal. So it's like you're paying taxes twice if you live in Quebec. Now, I believe the best province is Alberta. Well, the rates are high, but the income is higher as well. The brackets are higher. So it's only the first 134,000 is taxed at 10%. And then the next between 134 and 161,000 is taxed at 12%. And then 161 to 214 is taxed at 13%. As you can see, it's so much higher. And then between 214 and 322 is taxed at 14%. And then anything above 322 is taxed at 15%. So there is no right province for everyone. It'll depend on your income, which province is better for you, of course, because it depends which bracket you fall in. All right, I hope this makes more sense. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. Thanks for watching.